Firstly, I apologise because A, I'm out of practice, B, I haven't uploaded very much, and C, I'm extremely ill, so this is probably going to be rough around the edges and sound pretty awful as well. But the information is here for you guys from Roguelands 1.5, which launched just today, in regards to the new armours available from the Ultra Bosses in Roguelands. So, the Ultra Bosses are a new variety of endgame boss that are incredibly hard to kill. I've only fought one of them, which is the first one. I've killed him 10 times and not received a single drop, but I have spent the rest of the day trying to figure out what the item IDs are for the armours and helmets that get dropped by these bosses, and I have found them. I'd like to show you very quickly what each of the sets look like, and also show you what stats are on offer, and then obviously you can pick and choose which one you want to try and go for first, if any, and then you can try and just figure out how you beat the boss from there, because unfortunately I don't have the information just yet. Alright, so first things first, we have Ironclad. This is the boss you can find from, these are all in order by the way, this is a boss you can find from the Desolate Canyon, and this one is basically just a Gorak, a little bit slower, but it's the only one I've killed and unfortunately hasn't rewarded me any drops. But the stats you can see already are 20 vitality and 10 strength. That's just at base level 1, no experience, no investment. It's great, and it looks a little something like this. Probably take my droids off as well. Let's get them out of here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Has these weird blue little parts on it as well. Very nice. In fact, let's get out of here just for a second. Build mode. Get here. You go up here where it's nice and you can see everything. This is my set, by the way. Okay, so this is the Obsidian one, which Sean already showed off on Twitter. Pretty nice, all things considered. Next one. Get this from the Deep Jungle, Catastrophia helmet and armour. Again, 20 vitality and 10 faith for this one. Not a big fan of this one and how it looks. I think the helmet's really interesting, but it still looks like a box. And in a weird way, kind of reminds me of like the Nintendo Switch dog that people are raving on about in a minute. Alright, next one's the Fellbug. This is the one I think I'm interested in getting next. Reminds me of a character from Marvel. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but yeah, it's got like a bit of a sensible colour scheme anyway, and his eyes like sort of poke through the top here as well. But yeah, fairly decent, not bad. This one obviously 20 vitality and 10 magic, and now we hit the point where it kind of changes pace. Like these three are the basic ones because you have your strength, faith and the magic one, and then we move on to the Might Shroom, which mixes up the formula a little bit and gives you 10 tech and 10 magic, and that's again, it's shared. All of them are the same as this, where they all share the same stats. But I like how this one looks a lot. I think it looks awesome. Potentially, if I was going for a character that wanted to look good rather than a character that wanted to play really well, this would be one I'd go for. I like it a lot. It's kind of rounded here at the bottom as opposed to like just squared off. I like it a lot. It's like a really interesting shaped helmet, and really props to Sean on this one. Did not mean to press that. There we go. Next up is Ironclad. This one confuses me a little bit because it's the same stats as Ironclad, but it looks a little bit different, so if you prefer this one, that's great. This one is Ancient Ruins. I don't know if I mentioned for the last one, that's obviously Shroomtown. Yeah, but this one's Ancient Ruins. It doesn't look to me like it should be from the Ancient Ruins, but of course, there was, theories, especially from myself, in regards to what was really being protected from the Ancient Ruins. Like, why are there protectors there? What was there before? And perhaps the Ironclad has something to do with that. I mean, judging by the lore from Olaf, which I'm going to show you in just a second, it's probably not the case, but you know, interesting enough. Oops. Next up, we have the Apocalypse one, and this one's from the Plague Lands, I believe. I like how it looks quite a lot. Stats, it's 10 dex, 10 tech. Very, very good. Like a really good stat alignment. And I would say it's probably like up there for some of the best armor in the game, just because the Warforged gun's so strong right now. And it's got stronger with this patch nonetheless, but yeah, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And again, I like how it looks. Very sci-fi. I think it fits the Roguelands theme very well in general. Interesting enough. Right, the Gladiator is next. This one's from the Bifrost, and this one is 10 magic, 10 faith. I'm not a big fan of this, to be honest. I like how it looks. I think it looks like a top hat that's too big for someone, or something that like a Final Fantasy character would wear, or even like Viger from League of Legends, for those who care. But yeah, I kind of like how it looks, but I'm not a big fan of the stat spread, so that's interesting enough. But then we've got the Big Daddy, and I should say this very, very specifically. All of these bosses, like I said, all come in order. They're all Ultra bosses, so they're all intended to be difficult. But this one's the Exodus, and the Exodus is probably the best armor in the game. Exodus is the boss from Molten Crag. I assume it's going to be the hardest boss to fight because of its reward. It looks pretty good. I think it looks a little bit faithy, you know what I mean, like kind of robes rather than like helmets, similar to like Ultima. But yeah, I like this design a lot, and the stats are 20 everywhere, 20 for every single stat, which is incredibly good, incredibly good. So this might be the best like gear in the game. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it probably is the best gear in the game. So as you can imagine, there's definitely going to be some demand for this. Whether or not it's going to be easy to beat that boss or not, I have no idea. But that's something to keep in mind. Now, there's something else I need to show you, because these are all just been, you know, the level 1, no investment, no anything for all the stats on all the new types of armor. But I do also have some of these in here. So we'll show off the rest in a second. So yeah, pretty standard stuff comes across here. Felbug level 1 standard versus Felbug level 1 legendary. You're looking at a 9 stat differential. This is the regular thing for all legendary gear in the game. Just increases it by 9 on the base stat total, but the growth is where it changes. So that's level 1. At level 10, it's 209 vitality, 109 magic, which is colossal. That's huge, like really good. Again, it's not quite as good as Exodus, which I'll show you in just a second, because obviously Exodus is 20 everywhere rather than a 10 in any of the stats. But yeah, this thing is insanely good. Depending on how difficult it is to acquire compared to Exodus, it might be better to go for one of these, like one of the basic, more easily acquired sets, rather than the Exodus itself. But this is the Exodus at level 1, okay? Again, just a base increase of 9 on all the stats that it's already been rewarded. And then I've also got a set at level 10, which is 209 everywhere. 209 in every single stat. This thing makes you a monster. You plug all that in. Look at this. I've got 420s everywhere. I'm blazing it. It's crazy. And that's like, you know, if I don't take in anything else from the build here, those are my stats just from being level 100 and having leveled up with the Bunyip, which is one of the best races for the Warforged gun builds, which is what I've been using to beat, you know, this guy, Mykonoga. Still not used to the names. But yeah, like, it's insanely good. If you can get your hands on one of these sets, in particular for Exodus, good for you. I don't know how difficult it is to get. I don't know the drop rates. I really don't know. I've killed Mykonoga 10 times and not seen any return on anything whatsoever. All of these things have been acquired just for the sake of research. So I spent most of my day just like typing away and figuring out what the item IDs were. But yeah, they look incredible. If you wanted to make a really good build and you had the time to invest to be able to get a character strong enough to fight the bosses or do it with friends, you may be onto a winner, genuinely. Soloing Mykonoga was hard enough, but it was a lot of kiting rather than a lot of fighting. So it was a lot of running away, healing up, then fighting him when I could. Because remember, you can deal damage when you're alive, but not when you're dead. So it's more important to stay alive than to deal damage. Right then, but that's generally it, to be honest. There's not much else I really want to say here. Possibly, you know, bear in mind there is more stuff to be had in this patch. Obviously there's like the slime helmet, which I've shown here, the Slimecraft helmet, obviously a reference to the YouTuber. I think it's probably his Kickstarter reward for like designing like an item to go in the game. I'm not sure, just guessing. But yeah, it's pretty good stats, not that hard to get, and of course you can already figure out all it is going to be 9 on top of what that is already. So you're going to be plus 11 for vitality, dex, magic, and then plus 13 for tech and faith on the stats for that, even if it was legendary. Alright, so yeah, those are the new sets of armor. I think they are interesting. I think they look really good for the most part. My least favourite probably Catastrophia and Ironclad, but big thumbs up for Mike Shroom, big thumbs up for Mykonoga, big thumbs up for Exodus, and you know, Felbug and even Apocalypse and Gladiary a little bit as well. You know, like I'm a really big fan of the stuff you've done here, Sean. So thank you again for contributing to the game. I know you've got many more things on your plate. I know you're away this weekend, but thank you very much for your effort. And thank you to everybody else for joining me. Hopefully this information is ample, and if you have any questions about anything, let me know. Just for the record, I assume these still are drops from the bosses, the ultra bosses. I don't know for sure because I haven't received one, but I assume that's how you acquire them. It makes sense to me completely. In the same way that it would be, you'd acquire like Azazel's gear from Azazel. I think you'd get Mykonoga's gear from Mykonoga, and so on and so forth. But yeah, those are the sets, excuse me, from each of the 8 ultra bosses. And I hope you enjoyed a little something from this video. And obviously, if you want to know the item IDs, I can tell you, but I'll try and keep it hush because obviously people should acquire these things, you know, independently because they are impressive. I've got to very swiftly get rid of all of them so I don't use them. But yeah, really fantastic stuff. Thanks for joining me.